My name is David Lamb, a furniture maker, cabinet maker from Canterbury, New Hampshire, and I'm very pleased to be here at the gallery at Soame Sound. I think furniture making found me rather than me looking for it. Where I live in Canterbury is right adjacent to Shaker Village. Right down the road where our studio is now was a man by the name of Alejandro de la Cruz, and he basically invited me down, asked me if I wanted to try it. I think he also saw my age. I was 14 when I started that. And, one thing led to another, and I've been going ever since, 1972. My apprenticeship was 3 years long with Mr. De La Cruz, and that was during my high school years. What I was learning in his studio was, the repetitive stuff, like learning how to play the piano. You do your scales, you learn this technique, that technique, and then it was incumbent upon myself to rehearse those and practice those over and over again. And that's what I did, and started making furniture at my place. And then after the apprenticeship was done, I went to Boston University with a portfolio established, and that's how I got into the program. It was called the Program in Artisanry under Jerry Osgood and Alphonse Mattia. And we were encouraged to explore new forms and line and thought processes. So I think it was really a combination of that contemporary school, my very traditional training. I gotta say that my apprenticeship was very European-centric, traditional kind of thing. And then living at Shaker Village, having that whole early American kind of, the Shaker design aesthetic, just a very pared down but very classical aspect too. And the combination of those three things all come out in the work that I do today. I feel most comfortable working in traditional classical form, but I use nature as an inspiration, whether it's literal carving of elements, leaves and branches and things like that, or I will reinterpret things like the fractal aspect of ice crystals, whether it's frost or black ice. And the Four Seasons of Acadia was a classic example of that work. I like the sense of familiarity in my work. Like if someone comes in and sees it, they can feel comfortable because they recognize the form and it's familiar, but there might be something very intriguing about the details or the coloring or the subtle shapings and things like that that I've done to it that are maybe not expected and a little more unusual, and that's what I really like to do. I think this chest of drawers right here is a great example of something that I like to do. It's got a very classical format, but I can take the certain elements and really focus on that as an interest of mine, such as these corner pieces. They start from nothing at the toe and they work their way up and work back to the next step and come up and then disappear into nothing at the top. Simple pulls, full-figured Cuban mahogany. This could be like a collections chest. It could be anything from arrowheads to seashells to watches, what have you. And you pick something out of the drawer and say, oh boy, let's look at this for a while, and you set it down on this little display shelf, which is nicely set in with leather. I think it's a piece that's got a lot going on, but it's quiet at the same time. These are like 11 layers of laminated slices of veneer, so it's solid wood, but it's like restructured. And then everything is concentric, whether it's the top molding here or this frame, and it goes down. There are a lot of steps to create all the patterns for all the different elements and have them all work together. The color and the touch, the feel of everything is due in large part to my wife, Janet, who is always there with me. She's my design consultant, my finisher. All the finish is done with a brush. We don't do any spraying. It's exceptionally well done, hand brushed work, rubbed out, waxed, all of that. And if ever I have a question or not sure of something, so what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And she cuts to the chase and really helps determine, the best approach for it. So it's really a team effort. I'm thrilled to be represented by the gallery at Soame Sound. Primarily because I'm also surrounded, I think, by a number of my compatriots, my associates that I know many of, furniture makers, and I truly admire the artists that are hanging on the walls too and their work. I think it's a great energy that we have all showing together, and it's wonderful to be here.